on to the NFL. Tough times were expected in Pittsburgh this season. The Steelers are a young team with a very difficult early schedule. But nobody thought things would be quite this tough. The unthinkable has now happened. Chuck Noll's job might be in jeopardy. The Steelers' defense, once proud, is now porous. And the team that won 4 Super Bowls is wondering if they'll even win one game this season. CNN's Tom Kirkland has more on Pittsburgh's Paradise Lost.
Over the past decade, the Steel City has grown out of the shadows of the industrial age into one of the nation's best-kept state-of-the-art secrets. But it's no secret the tenants of Three Rivers Stadium, those once dominant Steelers, have been reeling in recent years. And an atrocious start this season has everyone feeling the heat.
What people are interested in and what I'm interested in is winning. I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, that's your bottom line. You don't win on a football team, there's criticism. That's part of it. What we have to be able to do is know where we're going, know what we want to do, know what we want to get done, and do it.
The football fortunes have paralleled those of the steel industry. Reduced to so much scrap metal. This plant used to employ some 5,000. Now only about 300 rattle around here. But the hard-nosed blue-collar approach will always galvanize the player and the worker in this town.
There's still people that are, you know, they live and die with the Steelers. And that's, I guess, the same as with the steel mills. You live and you die with them.
For most of the 70s, Coach Chuck Noll and his Steelers were on top of the heap. They put a record 4 Super Bowl rings on their fingers in a 6-year span. That gave rise to the motivational motto, win one more for the thumb. But now, a decade later, many here in Pittsburgh want to give Noll the thumb.
He's still coaching the teams that he had back in the 70s when they were Super Bowl dynasties.
You think that maybe it's time for Chuck to move on?
I think, as he likes to say, it's time for Chuck to get on with his own life's work.
Right now, we're going through a rebuilding. And I think Chuck Noll has the experience to rebuild the team.
In his 21st year as head coach here, Noll's once again the teacher. 2/3 of this team has 3 years or less pro experience, and an NFL high 10 of them are rookies. With the lessons come the lumps of losing. 0-2, giving up 92 points and 12 sacks while scoring only 10 points.
We have good game plans. He does the best job he can possibly do, and so do the assistant coaches. But they can't go out there and play for us. We got to get the job done, and we're not doing it right now.
We've got a young group that has a great deal of potential. I think in the early 70s, we had a young football team with a lot of potential. But realizing the potential is what it takes.
Noll's been accused of being out of step with the times. But a Hall of Famer Mean Joe Green bristles at that thought. Remember, they lost 13 out of 14 in Noll's first year.
He was the same guy that had no talent and had lost touch with his players, but he had 4 Super Bowl appearances in his future.
We're all a little bit impatient. We're used to a great football team, and we're now like the Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. You know, the teams of the 70s are down, and it's going to take some time.
It's hard to gauge management's timetable. President Dan Rooney, son of popular Pittsburgh patriarch Art Rooney, has been uncharacteristically inaccessible, refusing interviews all week. And while the fans keep Three Rivers overflowing, those 4 Super Bowl trophies can only carry Noll so far. If his players' talents don't come together as they did in the old days, like other institutions of this town, Noll could fall victim to the new ways. In Pittsburgh, Tom Kirkland, CNN Sports.